need support staff to clear the room. Stand up and walk, now.
Hello, and welcome to The Watch. My name is Chris Ryan. I am an editor at TheRinger.com. And joining me in the studio, having just received a hologram to inform him that Andy Dalton is now their QB2 for the Eagles, it's Andy Greenwald!
I like this because it's both very specific to my interests, but also is something that could have been communicated from 2016.
Sure. Yes, that's right.
You are the best at this.
We are going to talk about Lanterns. We are going to talk about Furious. We'll talk a little bit about the old Disney 23 celebration.
Can we talk about the Eagles preseason or QB2
I gotta
battle?
admit, like, I watched 2 minutes and I was like, this is sub sport to me.
Some of us do the work.
Did you watch? You didn't watch this? You didn't send a single text message about it.
Maybe I sent them to my other more active chats.
Thanks for noticing my facial hair. This is the lioness beard. This is happening. This is going to go on until we get to the bottom of who sent the Belarusins to Joe's house. And we get Joe free. We bring Joe home.
Is this also because you want your body to do it and not a pill? Thus, I don't know what it is in this context, but I think we can all guess.
That would be funny if I got hymns, but just for like
Just
a
for your
mustache.
face. Is it possible, just asking for a friend, is it possible for hymns to get misdirected
Or
in your
any
body?
pill that does that. No
Sure.
free ads.
No
Yeah.
free ads.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't know necessarily how it works, but like if you took a pill that's like your hairline will come back, but you just start developing like robust Alec Baldwin pelt.
I mean, would you trade that?
Would I
Would
top for
people trade that? No, not top for bottom, but if you were like
coming in so hot on Monday,
you get more hair back,
Mhm.
but it goes everywhere.
or you have no idea, you
Yeah.
can't choose where it goes, but you get it. Wow, that's a real like monkey paw kind of question for
Well, the point is
all the
that,
fellas out there.
For people who are caring, Van's going to come on next Monday, and we're going to talk about Lioness.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Will you also ask him these other hard hitting questions?
Well, you're not
that
going to
I'm
be
cook-
here. You're going to
No.
be
I'm going to provide you with a list of questions that I'd like you to ask Van for me.
I'm probably not going to regard those with any seriousness because you
Fair.
don't take Lioness seriously enough. That's what I've realized.
Not as seriously as some people on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Are you gonna address your errors in last week's?
My silence was deafening. Apparently,
Go through
those
it.
weren't German Shepherds.
No, and apparently dogs can't be racist.
I take issue with that. I think Samuel Fuller takes issue with that. I don't think that they're born racist. Do you know what I mean? It's a nature and nurture thing.
Jesus Christ. Uh-huh.
You know what, man? Let's not even worry about it.
Let's stretch. You got a long
Let's not
show.
even worry about it. Let's not even worry about it. I do want to talk to you a little bit about Disney. That was sort of the big announcement on Friday was they filled out a little bit more of the X-Men cast. They showed a little bit more of Doomsday. I think at the venue they showed some Starfighter. I want to open up the floor to the headline that grabbed you the most.
No, we gotta run through it because I don't have the full list. I think should we start with X-Men and we'll work our way backwards
I can
from there.
run through it for you, man.
Let's start with X-Men. That was my NFL preseason game. I was live
You were
checking that.
seated.
I was watching. I was texting about that. What were your initial thoughts as a fan of both the X-Men and of corporate fan events?
I like the cast, and I think that Jake Schreier, who's directing it, was saying all the right things about where he was going to be pulling from with Claremont and Chris Claremont and Jonathan Hickman as his sort of inspirations as far as X-Men writers go. I liked the fact that he was like, and that Feige echoed this, that the thing about X-Men is that we haven't even scratched the surface of cool stories that involve them.
Yeah.
How much time is it going to take to get this off the ground in terms of storytelling, not in terms of production, because the movie is dated for 28.
May 28.
But how much heavy lifting before we get a full flight X-Men storyline that feels like, we're at basically where, say, Spider-Man is now, where like if they wanted to keep making Holland Spider-Man movies, they are like, they're going now. They know what the tone is.
Yeah.
They know what the look is.
And as I think you're alluding to, he's established as a character and with a relationship to a rogues gallery and friends and allies and other heroes and the city itself. Whereas the question with something like X-Men, which I think which is one of the reasons why some people, we won't need to name names, thought maybe it would be they would go all in on like a TV universe for them. That was also definitely in the era that we were talking about. That era has now ended last week about putting the content directly onto streaming services, but that it is so soap operatic and so enormous in the sort of the eras and the eras of storytelling. So to do it in a 2-hour movie, to your point, is this going to be Charles recruits his X-Men?
Is it Jean Grey shows up in Westchester and a full-headed haired Professor X is there.
And he's like, what's up?
Walking around.
So actually, we love living up here. We don't miss the city at all. There's a great theater, we can still get the same.
Roman opened a place right by
totally.
here.
The tin fish supply up here has really improved. Okay, so run through the cast. Let's talk about it.
Kit Connor, who... here's the thing I really admire about this cast is they are making pretty significant bets. I saw some people make the comparison of got a lot of these X-Men on rookie contracts.
I love that.
Kit Connor as Scott Summers. I liked him in Warfare. People liked him in Heartstopper. I haven't seen that. Sadie Sink, people just saw in Spider-Man Brand New Day as Jean Grey. Christopher Abbott and Adam Driver are the big additions here from the cast of Girls.
Let's circle back to both of them.
Indy Navarrete, who is incredible in Obsession, obviously, is playing Rogue. That had been rumored to be Kaylee Spaney, and Indy Navarrete was rumored to play Mystique. That is not happening. Maya Boyd is playing Storm. Samara Weaving playing Emma Frost, already posting thirst traps of herself reading Emma Frost comics.
Do you feel like those have pushed your own thirst traps of you reading Emma Frost comics off of the headlines?
What should I post thirst traps of? Me watching Lioness?
I think that there is
like 42 zins in the kind of like
yes.
No.
Just you like you
watching Lioness with like a pouch of Big League Chew.
Or what if you like took a large caliber rifle and walked down like a downtown Los Angeles street having robbed a bank? Sort of.
Yeah.
And people would be like, "Oh my God, it's happening." Then you would get arrested.
And that's in the cast. And then Adam Driver is playing Mr. Sinister, which is a fascinating, meaningful, interesting choice
ridiculous.
As a villain.
Yeah. So let's go into the specifics of these linchpin castings.
Okay.
Driver, there was too much smoke for it not to be a kind of fire here, especially like a couple weeks ago when Feige was sort of winking. I keep asking him. I think we definitely, Driver has an incredible career in which he somehow is spoken about. I mean, I think he's a phenomenal generational talent, but he's spoken about as if he has always long eschewed the sort of cape shit, and he's just like not a part of that world. He was Kylo Ren. So he went right into Star Wars.
He wanted to keep playing Kylo Ren.
Yes, he
He's
sure
made
did.
movies where he's fighting dinosaurs. Like that dude.
Although that got buried. That was like a George Clooney Nespresso commercial from the 90s. You know what I mean? Like nobody talks about that movie.
I think the streets remember.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Which street? Oak Street? Where the dinosaurs are still rampaging?
Yeah.
So I think you can look at it this one of two ways. I mean, you can look at it the cynical, like, One for Them allows him to keep making James Gray movies where he walks around the streets of New York in period costume.
I mean,
which I will be there for that.
Yeah.
I want to be clear.
Yeah.
The second thing would be that this creative team and the idea of starting something new and fresh and you're not necessarily signing up for Secret Wars 2 where the Beyonder is wearing like a leisure suit when you sign this contract means that this might be a fun thing for him to play. The more hopeful version of this
You dropped something, King, and it was a Beyonder reference.
Which camera's on? They know. The streets know. They have an ally up here. The best case version of this, I think, is that he was really interested in the idea that they brought to him, which was, we're not doing what everyone expects, which is Professor X versus Magneto. And then there'll be like a lot of chin-stroking articles being like, it's actually an analog of the civil rights struggle. In fact, the Mr. Sinister that emerged in the Jonathan Hickman comics is an absolutely...
Who are you talking to, man?
Other things that emerged.
I've read those, yes.
I know, but okay, so when the character was introduced in the 90s, it was just like pure 90s. Like, now here's a guy who looks like Colossus, but we colored him differently, and his name is Mr. Sinister, and he's real into blood science and genetic stuff. And like, who would have thought that later on he would become a thought leader?
Yeah.
and I listen to his podcast. But
Diary of a CEO.
It's honestly Andrew, Mr. Sinister Huberman out here. The thing that Hickman did that was so cool was that he made him like super campy and over the top and a little bit insane.
Yeah,
and that
a little bit.
I'm just trying to
I understand.
onboard people here. So I think the idea of him playing like a fanatic is pretty fun and interesting, and definitely the same kind of Zag we would have seen. We have seen the playbook before. I think specifically with the Tom Holland movies, where they're like, we're going to pick this up not from a stopped position. We're going to pick it up like when they're already in motion, and we are not going to pick it up with the biggest possible villain.
It also would appear
we're going to build to something
that they are not doing. Now, the youth of Professor X would suggest what was the James McAvoy, the first one? Was that
First Class?
First Class, which I liked quite a bit. The youth would suggest an origin story. However,
okay,
with all the incursion timeline dice shaking that's going to happen in Doomsday and Secret Wars, you could just shave the head and have like a younger Professor X, right? Like we don't have to we're not necessarily joining these guys with a middle-aged Professor X and a middle-aged Magneto or what have you.
A couple things here. To us, respectfully, Christopher Abbott is a young fellow.
No, I know. He's a 40-year-old something.
When the film comes out, he will be 42 years old.
Yes.
There are people in the studio who probably think of that as still, more senior.
Yeah.
But still viable, I'm sure, just as a thought leader or leader of a factional separatist superhero team. I think that it's kind of it's not the idea that these characters are supposed to be elderly British actors is really a construction of the successful.
That's Fox thinking.
Bryan Singer. That's outdated Fox thinking. Yeah. And if I may just grab hold of another piece of stray random IP, for example, we all love Alan Rickman and Maggie Smith, but those characters from it's
Harry Potter.
Okay. Yeah. Canonically, the Snape character is 30, not Alan Rickman. And I love Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
So I think the idea that that Professor X is just 15 years Jean Grey senior is fine.
Yes.
That's a big 15 years at that time.
I was just going to say that it would seem that this is an X-Men story that we have yet to see yet. We've not seen yet. It's not going to be Dark Phoenix. It's not going to be Apocalypse. It's not going to be...
No, it's Charles Xavier.
Days of Future Past. It's
Charles Xavier with a Hims prescription. But where will it go? And what has Mr. Sinister done?
That's up to Beast to figure out.
That's up to Beast. That's why
why Charlie Melton was like, I can't do it.
I can't do this. I have a luscious locks. My question for you, I just like Christopher Abbott a lot. I think he's a very interesting, surprising actor, and I think that's a very cool choice.
I saw him on stage off Broadway, Danny in the Deep Blue Sea, with his soon-to-be partner, Aubrey Plaza. Wow. And he had a broken leg and still performed.
Wow. You saw him do it on a cold, rainy night in Stoke, is what you're saying.
Worried that I had COVID. Well, we all were back then. It was sort of still early days, but it was like a real 50-50 kind of thing.
Did you have it?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
Can't have it if you don't test.
This was 23. I think I did test.
Okay. Good for you.
Yeah.
I want to talk about...
I still test. Sometimes I test just to see what's going on.
I know, on the way in here, we're like, why are you swabbing again?
I was like, influenza B. Interesting.
That should be fun. I want to ask you about, do we say Navarrete?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk to you about her because I am unfamiliar with her game. I've not seen that film.
She's as good as it gets.
I think it's exciting. I'm not trying to have a hot take here. I have historically thought, you know what? Everyone knows this about me. This is what I lead with. Rogue, coolest, scariest X-Men power probably of all.
Can't touch.
But also, I think the least well executed in the history of the comics.
The Anna Paquin era.
And on screen. Partly because the character, at least in the Claremont comics, is so much like I declare, sugar, I can't touch you except for 6 issues every year when someone... does something to my powers and I can kiss Gambit.
Right. Jean puts a bubble around us and we can make out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds nice. Do you feel like is this exciting casting because of the performer? Is it exciting casting because of the performer and the role?
I'm not a Rogue guy.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not a Rogue guy.
Speak your truth.
It's not a problem. It's just not a fave.
Mm-hmm.
I would love for them to take the Cajun down 10%.
But she's not Cajun. She's just Southern.
Southern.
Gambit is Cajun.
Gambit's Cajun. Sorry, Rogue is she?
She's from America's South.
Okay, so let's bring the SEC down 10%.
That's the way to put it.
That I'm not saying that's an issue. I'm just saying I would love for them not to saddle her with a big accent.
Right.
She could handle it. She would be great.
Yeah.
But it'll just be everything everybody talks about is the accent. But Rogue not my fave. But honestly, neither is Mystique.
Yes. Well,
I'm a Jean guy. That's just who I am.
Are you okay? Do you want to speak to your listeners now? How do you feel about the fact that after 40 years of just sort of shrugging, they have finally just given up and being like, this Jean Grey does not have a code name? Because she was saddled with the dumbest code name of all time.
Miss Marvel, right?
No.
Stargirl?
Marvel Girl.
Marvel Girl.
Ms. Marvel is someone else.
Yeah, that's Carol, right?
Ms. Marvel then became Captain Marvel. Yeah, she got promoted.
Yeah.
From the magazines to the army. Marvel Girl, then she was Phoenix, but that's a tainted chalice.
Yes, it is. It is. And I think if we could see in Brand New Day, she got that Phoenix in her. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that will get addressed in some film later.
I'm so excited for the memes. Like Jalen Carter X-ray, but it's just got Phoenix inside of him. Come on.
You got that Dark Phoenix in him.
Yes. I love it.
I know you were desperate to talk about Doomsday some more. I just wanted to give you some space to do so.
I just don't think they're doing anyone any favors with this right now. And they need to like take the W that people are interested with Spider-Man and move on. I say that genuinely it is we identified this, as did many other people, as a Herculean marketing effort to begin with, where they are building an entire movie that is the direct sequel to, until Brand New Day, the highest grossing movie in the history of the American box office.
Endgame.
And the entire movie is about a character that no one knows anything about and has never been on screen before.
Yes.
Yes, he is played by the actor that everyone loves, but they are not showing that in the trailers. So they are having to establish this guy's bona fides in the same way that every summer Ben Simmons would post an Instagram of him like in the gym, and be like ready to go get it. And everyone's like, wow, he's going to really shoot basketballs this year. And then he didn't. All of that said, this new footage, which just has Sue Storm, a character that America looked at and said, okay.
Yes.
Saying, Victor was wonderful. We loved him. He was great at dinner parties, but then they took things from him and now he's a monster. Okay, tell me more about this guy that I've never met. It's like we all have, it's like their collective girlfriend in Canada is this guy, Dr. Doom. And worst of all, in this trailer, the fucking scene where Thor confronts him, did they film this in Harrenhal? Like, it is the most negative space, nothing burger slop chamber I have ever seen. Like, I just don't know why they are pushing this as an iconic image for an audience that has just seen the beautiful glimmering streets of Glasgow, Scotland double for New York. Like, at least show me some sort of flora or fauna to suggest that you are remotely on a planet. I'm
trying to decide if I'm going to zag.
I know. Watch this. Zoom in on him. Let's see the thought process.
Here's what I liked.
Okay.
It wasn't inert. People were yelling.
You mean the characters?
Yeah, it felt like something was at stake. It felt like something bad happened. And they were like, Victor, what did you do? I like that.
You know what he did. He killed Fox's X-Men in the first 5 minutes of the movie. We all know that's what he did. And Shang-Chi is like, oh, damn, I saw those movies. Like, what? What do you mean? Victor, what did you do? We don't know you, man. We don't know you. We have never met you.
Do you think it's cool that this is what this pod has turned into?
Yes.
Is just screaming about Victor Von Doom?
It's where it was always headed. This
is like the fourth pod in a row that we have led with like a big opening segment about Marvel lore.
Okay, passive voice. Who among us sets the agenda?
Who's doing this?
Who is the schedule maker for this podcast? I'm plug and play. You set me up for anything, I'll talk about it.
I think it looks as bad as it can possibly look.
Okay,
I
there
think
you go.
Visually,
yes.
I think there are educational films being played at the Camden Aquarium that look better than this. But I did like a little bit the fact that they let my boy Pedro yell at him, and get his triple frontier back.
Yeah, I like that.
And they have like, there was just some drama palpable in it,
yes.
which I had been. You can't not have both. You can't have it look like it was shot on like 2017 volume software.
Yes.
And also have people be like, but what do you mean, Victor? You know, like you have to yell, you have to emote, you have to feel it.
Yes.
Then the incursions matter, you know?
This is a new character I think you should develop between now and December, where you are like the old RADA instructor. You know, like some of these actors came up under your tutelage in the London theater scene. You are molded them, like maybe Aaron Pierre worked with you before he went Hollywood. And then they call you in to the set, the London set of Doomsday, and you're like, no, Victor. You know, like you're going up to everyone. You're going up to like a pile of styrofoam and ping pong balls. And you call it Eben, and Eben's actually over there catering. And you're just trying to get them to feel what they can't see.
Did you ever expect girls to be so important to the Marvel universe?
Thank you. That was the take I was missing. Yes,
you did. But did you think it would be women from girls who populated Marvel?
I mostly watch girls for the boys. There's my take.
Yeah.
No, first of all, the Sosha Mammoth in Madam Web Erasure will not stand.
You see she's in Industry season 5?
I did. Do you think that I can't, like, it's almost like Mickey and Conrad are now ordering from the Prestige television menu. Like they got access to a different thing on Postmates, you know, where it's just like, oh, Kieran and Chipka now. Like we can now access the higher, it's great, the higher priced items. I think that's going to be cool. Do you, would you like to comment on Girls' return to prominence?
I saw that Lena Dunham and Carly Rae Jepsen
I was about to talk about this.
Are doing a 10 Things I Hate About You musical that opens next year.
This is going to go down a treat, as they say in my household.
And I wonder whether or not, like, girls will wind up deciding the next presidential election one way or another. That we open up the doors and we say, you know what, we haven't discussed this show enough. We haven't litigated it enough.
You think that's going to become a hot button issue between
Ossoff and AOC?
Mm-hmm. Whose girls' bona fides are, honestly, that's tough.
You're such a Marnie, John Ossoff.
Generationally, they are right in there to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's an exciting thing to look forward to.
It's always amusing when like we talked about this a lot with Short Term 12, where
Short Term 12 being like the
Destin Daniel
Rosetta
Cretton's
Stone
independent
text.
film that had Michael B. Jordan, Brie Larson, John Gallagher, Rami Malek,
yes,
and all those people went on to make
Lakeith Stanfield,
blockbusters, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And now you've got girls supplying the demand.
That's exciting. Which are you more excited for in May 2028? X-Men or the Democratic primary? See, they don't do that on other podcasts.
I just wish we could integrate them into, like, we could bring them together.
Yeah.
Like maybe different X-Men characters just voicing the platforms of the candidates.
If you would give me 5 minutes to prepare for this idea, I would blow your doors down, but I can't do it on the fly. I'm really, maybe we'll just circle back at the end of the pod.
Who do you think Wolverine would voice?
No, that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of
Wolverine would have been Platner.
Yeah. Problematic.
Northern, problematic.
Northern.
Yeah.
Hirsute.
Always testing how much he can heal.
Absolutely overconfident in terms of the damage he can sustain while remaining in the fight. That is...
That's not funny.
Wow, there's a lot here. There were a couple other Disney things that are less interesting to you. Like, I imagine you didn't...
Oh, is this going to be like Bluey stuff?
I imagine you didn't check out... I watched Lioness for you, you monster.
18 minutes of it. You didn't even get to the dogs.
3 episodes of Bluey, and it's all dogs. Boom. Defeated. I assume you didn't check out the Tangled live action trailer or whatever.
Is that Mandy?
The original is Mandy.
Oh, okay. Who's in the new one?
Other people.
Okay.
Milo Manheim, who I know you remember from the Zombies franchise in Disney.
Is that an actual person or is that a character? Okay.
Yeah. We'll circle back to that. I think I do think we have to address the fact that they released like a teaser of the Bluey movie, and I brought it on my cellular device over to my 9-year-old first, and instantly she's like, "Oh, is this?" It just begins with a little balloon. She's like, "Oh, is this Bluey?" And she leaned in. And then it revealed Bluey and Bingo in glorious computer animated 3D. And she said, "Oh God, no. This ruined my childhood." And I said, "Respectfully, you are still a child."
Yeah.
And without a pause, she said, "My early childhood." It's going to be a lot to overcome. The move to 3D computer animation.
Do you think when you're 9,
mm-hmm.
you know how like you don't really remember? I personally don't really have a lot of memories until kindergarten, right? Like
kindergarten's 5. You had memories at 9.
I know I had memories at 9,
I
but
thought
do
you
you
were about
think
to say
when
I
you're
didn't
9,
have-
you remember when you're 2?
No, I can. Thank you. Finally, I'm a value add to this podcast.
Yeah.
No, they do not remember. They do not remember. I think
because that would be funny if you were just like a grizzled 9-year-old. Like, when I was 2,
I had it so good. No, I did. My older daughter. My older daughter did say early pandemic was peak for her because she didn't know what was going on and she didn't have to go to school anymore. And
didn't she have Zoom class?
She like not tearfully. She like confessed to me that sometimes during 2nd grade Zoom, she clicked off and looked at other things.
Okay.
And I was like, I forgive you. Sometimes when I'm writing a screenplay for money, I also click and look at other things.
Sometimes when Chris is talking.
I have 9 tabs open right now. The drift is real.
When Chris is like, Kyle interrogated her within the rules of the Geneva Convention.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, that's good for her. That's a big breakthrough.
Yeah.
Okay, well, those were the big announcements, I guess. There was nothing really like Star Warsy, right? There was just like...
They showed Starfighter, but I was not invited to
They showed the movie?
No, they showed like a minute of it or whatever. And then I think, actually, I couldn't tell if I was being gaslit by Twitter when I looked at it, but somebody was like, Sean Levy said something about the movie Drive. And I don't know if that was true or not.
That he was remaking it?
That it was like influencing Starfighter, but I don't think that's true.
You should pause and we should make a whole podcast about that statement. Like,
I think that was literally like somebody did it in Twitter. It was like
right.
just to be like,
just to get you worked up.
Yeah. They didn't get me worked up.
Frozen 3.
Did you see Kristen Bell showed up at a Savannah Bananas game and just started singing songs?
What do you mean showed up? Like uninvited?
No, she was like invited, but I wonder whether she's like, if we're going to make this live action Frozen, I'm in this shit. And I'm going to show you why.
I'm going to show you why.
She's like, I'm not getting cut out of this.
Yeah. I mean, that's tough. I mean, that's like that's the wicked path, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where like, what's her name? Adina, but also, your girl.
The Chenoweth?
Yeah.
You think she's my girl?
Not in terms of our artistry, but politically and religiously, I think you kind of are more aligned. That they had to like show up for like a little cameo in Wicked
Don't let
One.
the beard fool you, dog.
In which direction? The beard is keeping me guessing. I can't tell if it's fundamentalist or just hip. Anyway, no, Frozen 3 is not. That's a cartoon though, so we're excited.
Yeah, but
for
like
that.
I think that it's inevitable that they're gonna get Frozen live action.
I mean, I think
she can't play Elsa, right?
It might be inevitable, but well, she's Anna. First of all,
Oh.
I mean, I know you know that. We were just testing me, but I'd like to think. I don't know. I'm just a humble, not even stockholder. But I'd like to think that the Moana reception maybe was a little bit of a brushback pitch of like, you might actually have to think of something new. But then again, the rest of the announcements
Josh
were...
Tomorrow seemed really chastened.
Yeah.
He seemed like, we hear you.
As he was up there being like, Coco 2, Incredibles 3, Starfighter 2, Drive. Just the Starfighter just driving, wearing gloves.
Yo.
Who cares? You watch that. Okay, but for real though.
We did this bit a while ago where like we were just make Drive, but with Jedis.
If in the first 10 minutes of Starfighter, Ryan Gosling puts on space gloves.
If they drop Tick of the Clock, like I'll never leave the theater. I'll move in there.
They won't do that.
They'll do CBS Sunday morning like featurettes about like the guy who won't leave Starfighter.
No, I'm perfectly comfortable here.
I live on a diet of cookie dough and diet RC.
No impossible nuggets for you.
All right, let's get into the television from Sunday.
All right. Can we just say before? I don't mean to cut you off. I did just want to say at the top that we did see the film Tony, but because it's only in like 7 theaters,
35.
30. Okay, so a factor of 7. We won't talk about it till later in the week, but we both highly recommend.
I think we'll talk about it. Maybe what we'll do is we'll record something on Thursday and we'll put it at the very, very end of my conversation with Van about Lioness on Monday
and see what happens. So like after an hour of you and Van,
see how many people in the studio quit and protest.
An hour of you and Van talking about extraordinary rendition techniques, and at the end of it, I'm like, Every food story is really a story of people.
Did you know that in the third episode of Lioness, the two lionesses take a bath together? And they get interrupted.
Interrupted from what?
From bathing and other things. From communicating love physically with each other.
I can't. Are you trying to get me? What is your intention here?
I want to see if that makes it any more interesting with Slice of Life.
When you call them lionesses, it feels like it's a National Geographic show.
They are lionesses,
but are they bathing each other in the manner of actual lions?
No, they're taking a straight up old school bath together.
Okay, yeah. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Do the lionesses generally stick to the pride like that? Are they?
This is I think a new wrinkle for lionesses.
I'm
honestly surprised Joe's letting it happen. But that's...
Did Joe burst in? Be like, is there room for me? No, I only take cold showers.
That's right.
How many lionesses are there at any given time? I thought there was only one. I thought it was like a Highlander
There are
situation.
2 on Joe's team right now.
Does someone else have a team?
No, there's only one lioness's team. And Alexandra, the Ukrainian double agent, knows who they are. She's like, you are lioness? You are lioness. And then she points at Joe and goes, and you are the lioness.
That sounds like luck. You know what I mean?
Oh, she just guessed because it's the 3 women there?
And it's a show called Lioness.
Bobby's there too. She didn't call her lioness.
What did she call her?
Nothing. She was just like, and you're her team. Anyway, I'm giving you out of context lioness stuff.
That's my favorite kind of lioness stuff.
Let's do lanterns first. How about that? New show.
All right.
New us. This one is pretty hotly anticipated by your boys. And for good reason, because it comes from Chris Mundy, who was one of the main creative forces behind Ozark, Damon Lindelof, who is one of the main creative forces behind Lost and Leftovers and Watchmen, and Tom King, who is a beloved and adored critically and commercially comics writer. Author of anything in particular you want to highlight?
Tom King? I mean, he's had incredible runs on,
Vision, right? It's really Tom King's moment when you think about it. Because the Supergirl was supposed to be based on his
Woman of Tomorrow comic. He's done runs. Vision, I think, is a masterpiece. But at DC, he's done Wonder Woman. I think he's written Batman. He is really the dude who.
Him and Hickman.
He's not like Hickman, but in terms of if you want to hire someone to radically rethink what the possibilities of something that already exists could be, he is just other-brained about that. He's a genius about that stuff.
This is a small screen rendering of the beloved DC superhero, which in this story gets bifurcated between, at least so far after one episode, 2 lanterns, Hal and John, Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre, respectively. And it's a time-hopping, grounded detective show that also has elements of intergalactic
intrigue
and police work. In 2016, Hal Jordan is half-heartedly training Jon Stewart to be a lantern, even though Earth only gets one at a time. Being a lantern for lay people means being some kind of space cop, protecting Earth from extraterrestrial invaders. I think that's fair to say. And Jordan and Stewart are drawn to an apparent mass shooting in rural Nebraska, where they become embroiled in the lives of a sheriff named Carrie, played by Kelly McDonald. Her lawyer husband, Billy, played by Jason Ritter. Very nice job by him. His father, William, a mysterious, possibly government-affiliated militia leader, played by Garrett Dillahunt. Awesome to see him on screen. Also to see him back on HBO. And William's wife, Zoe, played by Porno Jagnathan, who is also an HBO vet.
Night of.
The pilot is a real, it's like a pilot. It's called Pilot, and it is got a lot of work to do. Do you think it did the work?
It's almost it's too hard of a framing, I think.
Okay.
I would say that through one episode, and I know there are some critics who have seen more, we like to go one at a time. I was reminded at once of 2 things. I was reminded of the fact that the lift to get something like this that is as burdened or blessed, depending on your point of view, with so much history, IP, understanding, perception, expectations, fan expectations, to get it off the ground to begin with is enormous and almost superhuman. And not just that, then, to grab the wheel as aggressively as Mundy, King, and Lindelof have done here and try to turn it in the span of 50 minutes from what it always has been and what people who do know the character think of it as, which is intergalactic space cops and make it True Detective, also in an HBO prestige type investigatory program, you feel the G-forces fighting them at every turn. There is so much exposition. There is so much table setting. And then you make it something that is set in multiple timelines, which is also incredibly challenging to do. So I would say that I found this pilot to be incredibly engaging, incredibly entertaining, promising, but deeply effortful, in that there was no moment when I felt it relaxing into the show that it could well become quickly. That's not a problem. Like, we have years of experience on this podcast, let alone in our lives,
I
understanding that pilots are hard.
I never mind when it's fleet of foot.
No,
it's when it grinds and it's when TV is like, this is going to be a slog and it's not going to be funny at all, and it's going to be like so self-serious about its like own setup and stuff like that. And I think that it
isn't that.
Yeah, it's not that at all. A lot of exposition in this episode, but the highs should really make people bullish on this, because we'll get into some details of the plot now. So if you haven't watched Lanterns yet, you can skip to Furious, or you can honestly probably just take the week off and then come back when I talk to Van about Lioness. It's the scene where Hal interrogates the alien, which is a scene that you've seen. Like, it's not unheard of to have that kind of interaction. Was so well done.
Great.
And it was the first time I think we got to see Kyle Chandler's iteration of the Green Lantern actually be worth his weight, other than like his ability to put on a ring and fly. Like, that was actual detective work he was doing to some extent. I thought that was so good. And the turn that the alien basically makes midway through when they were talking about Harry Potter, of all things. I was
going to say, Hal's genius alien test is something that you would have failed.
I know he went to Hogwarts.
Did you know that in 2016?
Yeah.
Under pressure in a police station in Nebraska, you would have full access to that. I can't
do any of the sorting or any of the other stuff, but I know that kid went to Hogwarts.
Okay. But that's also the same way, like, that like Andre Iguodala went to Arizona, right?
I mean,
like,
I
you
just do, though.
You just, in your bones, you know the colleges people go to.
Yes.
Okay.
Up to a point. But up to a point, there's Instagram accounts there where they shout at men on the street and they say, "Hey, where did Judd Buechler go to college?" And it's like, I know, Arizona Wildcats.
We're only talking about it. See, you're an alien because you only studied Arizona.
No,
alums.
I mean, up until 2000, I would say 2005, 6, 7, 8. I'm from 85 to 2005, I'd say I'm pretty confident about where any basketball player went to college.
Particularly if they were coached by Lute Olson in the other Arizona Wildcat community.
No.
You are busted, alien.
When this show sings, it sings. When Dillahunt is on screen, it sings. When Aaron Pierre and Porno Jagnathan are chatting at the bar, it's going. Like, there is a lot of stuff here that they have to like introduce us to a concept that maybe some people don't understand. Introduce on top of that, not only are there intergalactic space cops, but there's a reason for that. There's been this alien discovery. And the world is okay with it. And that this guy is a celebrity. We understand they're aliens. And then the next piece that's incredibly challenging, is we have to make the audience believe that a man who could fly to Alpha Centauri and back is going to willingly put himself into a jail cell to be near someone that he thinks is an alien. Like that the stakes can go from galactic to local and regional that effortlessly. In that, I thought that in many ways, and I do not mean to discount the work of Chris Mundy here, because we don't know the actual inner workings of the way that these three, honestly, alphas delineated their responsibilities. But everything I understand about him is that he is an incredibly affable, like consensus builder, and really good at the less glamorous parts of showrunning, which is making everyone buy in. So I'm not trying to minimize him, but I will say that this episode in many ways did feel like a conversation between Tom King's comic book specialty, which is saying, yes, Green Lanterns, but now they are investigating
a crime scene in Nebraska, and there's a tough-talking female sheriff who doesn't give a shit that he can make anything out of a ring.
It's also a mass shooting that's taking place the year that Trump gets elected. They are very purposeful with what they're choosing.
And if you are a comic book, even casual reader, I think you are at this point used to the idea of like, oh, Tom King's Green Lantern #1 just came out, and it's a really interesting new spin on it. So that part. The places where I saw Damon at his best is that when Damon runs right at the kind of the impossible to understand or the impossible to articulate thing and makes a joke about it. You know,
give me an example of that.
Well, like just the way that Chandler is just like, actually, aren't you supposed to be like, an intergalactic peacekeeping force? And he's like, actually, the universe is pretty peaceful.
Yeah. Or
he's just like, when he describes the origin story of Green Lantern as it exists in the comic book, which is this test pilot finds an alien ship having crash landed, and the pink guy gives him a ring, and he's just like, he either said good luck or fuck off, and I don't know which it was. Like, make the joke about it and make the subtext text so we all understand that we can move on.
And so there's another thing, which is many writers may not take this as seriously, but Lindelof last night, a bunch of interviews with him were released, in the aftermath of the episode. And honestly, just because I'm not very familiar with Green Lantern, this didn't strike me as completely outrageous. But Damon was sort of put in a position to be like, I'm really sorry that we've killed Hal Jordan.
Yes.
And the reason why we had to do that was, I think for a variety of reasons, but he was sort of being cheeky when he said, you can't say you have to pry the ring from my cold, dead hands.
Yeah.
Unless you're willing to make Hal cold and dead.
Yep.
Now, it's a Lindelofism, but it's also a Mondayism, if you've seen Ozark, to be like, the thing that should happen at the end of the first season happens in the first episode.
Yes. So you watch this pilot, and it's there is an element of like the giant in Twin Peaks going, it is happening again, but for Kyle Chandler in a prestige television show. Like literally, that's maybe the third thing he says on screen is, you'll have to pry this from my cold dead hand. So it's very Mayor of Kingstowny in the sense that like we know, but now the show is going to play with time. So he is not off of the show. There's just going to be
also with galactic space cops and magic rings, like you could theoretically bring him back.
You could, but I also think that they are making, this is where it starts to fit into the James Gunn verse in a relatively interesting way, which is he likes Guy Gardner as his favorite Green Lantern, clearly, and that guy and Nathan Fillion will show up as that Green Lantern. It seems to me Aaron Pierre has already been announced as co-starring in Man of Tomorrow, that's what they're doing going forward. So it's okay. I mean, even more so than Marvel. Marvel has had a more recent thing where there's like, now there's a new Hawkeye and she's a young woman, and they've rebooted their characters, Miles Morales being maybe the most famous example of it. DC's been doing this since before anybody cared about stuff. Like, I made a passing joke last week about the Golden Age Green Lantern, who is a guy named Alan Scott. So Hal Jordan isn't even the first one.
Right.
It's just the first one where they created this backstory of him being a space cop with a magic ring and not just a guy in a hood literally holding a lantern.
Right.
So they've chosen which one they want to use. So I like the fact that maybe I'm reading too much into it, but all of these eras, Gunverse, the Feige, MCU, whatever, in this fullness of time are fleeting. So make a decision, make a history, make this the guy that taught the other guy and have the fun with him now while you have him on the show. I like that. I was fine with it. And again, it also speaks to the actual like under the hood challenges of this episode, which is you have to not only introduce the entire mythos, but you also have to introduce this one guy who you have to care about so much that the episode ending with him being dead in the future lands. Otherwise, he's just another guy. And I think it did.
It was interesting because the interviews after the episode were so like, we know people are going to be outraged. But I thought what was cool and the best moment was that the Kelly MacDonald and Aaron Pierre characters come upon his dead body in the same stadium where this mass shooting has taken place, where he's convinced there's been this is where he was brought when he was younger and indoctrinated into becoming a Green Lantern in the first place. And he's sitting there, dead, and they're not crying. Like they're just like kind of almost like this was always going to be where it ended up.
But he has no ring.
And he has no ring.
Let's talk about some of the casting decisions here. Chandler's great. He's going bigger than I thought he would go. I think it's good. I mean, I think that again, it is it's funny that when they announced it and what it was going to be, and there was some talk about like, oh, how will this fit in with James Gunn's aesthetic? This is not James Gunn's aesthetic, but having a guy with a superpowered ring doing shots at a bar is James Gunn's aesthetic. Like that is some overlap
and playing
there.
like ironically like a funny song, like a bunch. You
Yeah,
know?
being of the world is kind of what Gunn likes to do with these characters and make them bigger than life with their personality. So I thought that fit. He is, Matthew Rhys has now given him a run for his money, but I think Kyle Chandler is in the television Hall of Fame. And just of like every time he's on screen, you just like him and you want to be rooting for him and you're invested in what he's doing. So he brings that charisma to everything that he does.
Mm-hmm.
I think manufacturing chemistry is challenging. I think a couple moments in the pilot spoke to it directly that like this guy eats ribs and Jon Stewart is a vegan. Aaron Pierre is like carved from a lab to be a superhero in these types of movies.
Yes.
They are very different energies, which maybe is good.
I thought, so my argument for it is that there was at least a arc to their chemistry, which matched the arc of the characters' relationship. And I thought by the time they get to the bar, the Jon Stewart character is speaking more freely about what he thinks of what Hal Jordan is doing.
Yeah.
And isn't just keeping everything to himself and
calling
taking
him
deep
sir.
breaths and calling him sir. So by the time they get to the bar and Hal Jordan's doing this somewhat ridiculous, I'm going to play a country song 10 times in a row until these guys at the pool table beat me up in order to get arrested so that I can go to so that I can interview this guy who's already in jail, which it turns out he doesn't really need to do because he could have, you know what I mean? Like it's this elaborate ruse that doesn't matter. And Aaron Pierre calls that out. Like Jon Stewart calls out, this is a stupid idea.
Hanging a lantern
on
on
do
it.
all of
We
it.
call that.
There you go.
I found the Jon Stewart backstory where his father is a stern military man who William tells his children every night to be a bit much. That struck me as something that probably looks sick as hell in the first 2 panels of Green Lantern 1 written by Tom King and was like maybe a slight bridge too far.
You just didn't like it from a childcare perspective or?
No, food waste primarily.
Yeah.
Like that apple could have been in his lunch tomorrow.
And if it's a Red Delicious, it might as well get shot anyway.
Can we do apple talk?
If you want.
Turn the lights down later and we'll talk about overrated fruits because I'm there for that. That said, then the next shot of the show, no pun intended, I found this fascinating. It is Jon Stewart waiting to get picked up by Hal Jordan outside of Spotify Studios downtown LA.
It's true.
I think you and I both have either driven behind or nearly been sideswiped by Hal Jordan, as it turns out, right around here.
Hal Jordan needs to work on making rights on red.
I think like many people in LA. I thought that was funny. I do want to say a couple other positive things about the show, but I definitely found myself, again, just coming into it cold, thrown a little bit by some of the casting, not because of the actors, because I love every actor that has had a speaking role on the show thus far. It was what I can only assume to be accounting for the time jumps that I was look, love is love and age has no distinction, right? But like,
so you're wondering about Garrett Dillahunt being Jason Ritter's father?
When they walk in to see the owner of this militia ranch and Garrett Dillahunt was there, I was like, cool, he's got an older brother. Or Garrett Dillahunt, potentially being an alien himself, had Jason Ritter at the age of 15.
You think he's an alien?
No, I'm just saying.
Okay.
But maybe he is because he looks like that and has a fully adult 40-year-old son. Similarly, you realize then later, because Kelly MacDonald, you don't want to have people wearing prosthetics in these time jumps past the point of whatever. Like that's in the spirit of good television, they've made the right choice. But I was totally confused by everyone's age and role when Porna Jagannath comes out and they're like, hi, Grandma. I was like, what? To whom?
Yeah.
But then you see Kelly MacDonald at the end and they have not changed her appearance at all. And she has had a 5-year-old and 10 years later, she has
he's now all-state quarterback.
And I'm saying that.
Which I would not have predicted that for that kid.
He got the trick. He got the magic. What are you talking about? I would have.
It seemed like he was not slinging it. I was like,
well, first of all, what was the thing with Nebraska quarterbacks? Didn't they all they were just ran the option or something?
They used to, but now Matt Rule has brought like more of a pro system.
I wonder if this is an alternate history because maybe Maybe he's not really, like, he's all state for Nebraska.
But it's not going to translate to the higher level.
No, because he can't throw the deep ball, nor has he ever been asked to, unless a superhero is like, just imagine it happening.
That's the thing, is like, I know visualization is important for quarterbacks, but I don't think you can truly close your eyes like you have the force and throw a ball through a tire.
Some people, I mean, Cole Payton, maybe. I don't know. Do you think, be honest, in terms of 10-year time jumps from 2016 to 2026, which unlike many of the things in the episode we have experienced, do you think you personally are more on the Jon Stewart trajectory of like, now I've just got a cool beard, but otherwise I'm exactly the same? Or are you more like the child who is young and fresh and throwing a ball and then is now 6'8" and...
I mean, I think we would have to go back to 2015, 16 and look at what we looked like back then.
I've looked.
And?
You look exactly the same.
You're a real archivist.
I am.
You're a personal archivist.
I am. Well, because I'm the one who's trying to get our papers in order for when we donate them to the University of Texas at Austin.
I see. I'm open. I was thinking about Oregon.
Why? Because you want to visit there more? Do you have a lead in with like the...
I think
you're wearing a hat, first
Phil
of all.
Knight could do some real stuff for us.
You're wearing a hat right now.
Yeah.
Are you that easily swayed?
I mean, everybody else in college football is.
What's our NIL rate?
I know.
That's smart. Okay, so that didn't throw you at all? Like the different...
The age difference didn't throw me at all. I think that there was probably some stuff that would have been... It was funny watching it with my wife, who admittedly it was second screening and kind of like, I will watch this so that you will then turn furious on. Yeah. And we got about 20 minutes in and she was like, wait, did he say aliens? And I was like, yeah, he did. And she asked me to explain the alien situation. And I was like, I don't think I can.
I think that's actually a good test audience because this should appeal.
Not because I'm NDAs I've signed, but just because of like, I just don't understand it myself.
Yes.
But they're moving quickly through this story.
But let's see. And it has all the elements to be successful. And I am actively excited to watch more of the show. So we can leave it there.
We can.
But
I wanted to ask you about how you felt like this first episode did introducing hot button issues, so to speak, in terms of a very white militia, but is more protective about, rather than American isolationism, it's global isolationism against extraterrestrial forces. Yes. There was a couple of things in there, but what did you think that felt Watchmen-y to you?
The alien knew that there was a controversy about Barack Obama's birth certificate.
That's right.
Did that make you lean in? Were you curious about that?
No.
That's settled business for you. I genuinely, there's two things. One, this is a new cop show that has a cast that I love with a creative team that I love, that is going to try something pretty unique, which is to be two things at once completely and not try to hide either ball and be honest about both. It's not, when this was announced, there was a part of me that was like, will they be investigating a murder during a time when Hal Jordan is on space cop probation and doesn't have his ring so that they will ground it? I love that it's not that. The secondary thing that I will be watching for, which is less passionate and more intellectual, is how high can you push the ceiling of something that has so much to do just to get to the starting gun? And I think that's, in a way, is actually answering your question, which is if you are making a True Detective-esque show that jumps between 2016 and 2026, set intentionally in Nebraska, playing with some hot button issues, if you took out the space cop part of it, it might have more opportunity to soar and become something, ecstatic, transportive, fascinating, moving. Whereas often I do find the ceiling for these sorts of adaptations to be, did you pull it off or not?
Well, what's funny is, like, I want to get to Furious, but the Trojan horse thing of, we're making a DC show, but what we really want to make is a True Detective cop show. Yeah. It's like, cop shows aren't, you could make a cop show. Like, it's not like you're like, what I'd like to do is make a portrait of divorce, but since you can't do that, I have to have a murder in it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it'll be interesting to see the relationship between those two things, because it's not like you needed to do one to get another one on the screen.
No, and the reason why this is of particular interest is because we know from their work and from their public statements that, like, Tom King and Damon Lindelof love comic books and love things that make comic book sense and comic book logic. And Damon has done it with Watchmen, but Watchmen as a subject matter has always been intentionally more adult and challenging and intellectual. And then he took it and went wild with it and didn't really use the source material other than as a springboard and tried to update it. This is by design. It's not that it's more conventional, but it's coloring within the lines more. It's just sort of trying to determine where the lines are. For that reason alone, I would watch the whole season.
Absolutely.
But there was enough in this to make me even more intrigued. And I guess what you're hearing is like, I really want the show to transcend both genres and become something really unique and special, and maybe it will.
All right, man, let's talk about Furious. This was the 6th episode of 8, and I loved how this one had some of the more conventionally thrillery cop procedural tropes, whether it's, and she out of nowhere, she's face to face with the killer, or some of the more like office drama, like Nora taking a really long time to get to Ed's office to buy Alice time at the shelter, etc. All these things are happening, and in each case, the creative team behind this show pushes the boundaries and goes past what's expected of any show like this to interrogate character, to push the limits of comedy in a moment, any given moment, like Nora doing the shoe tying thing. I thought it was a really, really great episode that, obviously you could probably be a little bit persnickety and be like, so now there's location trackers on everybody, like with the cops. Like that's something that,
that's probably true.
It's probably true. But in any case, like I thought it was really an excellent episode. But what did you think?
I thought it was incredible. I think this show is elevating week to week. I think it's one of the best things of the year. And I think it honestly is just giving me life in the sense that there's still places to push this. There's still ways to engage with what we traditionally think of as TV or what we think TV has become, and devote yourself to it and still find the ways to move the needle in terms of surprise, to play with expectation, to go deeper, to be bolder. I thought this episode had just God tier bones and construction, meaning that no matter who is making a show like this, in any circumstance, there's going to be a conversation in the writer's room at some point about how are we going to cross the protagonist and the antagonist. Yeah. It is a hallmark. It is honestly bordering on cliche of cat and mouse stories where there's going to be a moment when the cat and the mouse cross. It's the diner scene in Heat. It's
the car in Task. It's the catacombs in True Detective. Yeah.
So it's going to happen. The question is, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to dress it up? How are you going to sell it to us? How are you going to present it to us in a new way? And just in terms of construction of both of these women find themselves in a fixed place of refuge with stories to share and reasons for being there that, as Catherine says to Alice in the episode, you weren't lying about that are legitimate. And then pairing it with Nora and her own journey inside the mousetrap that is the FBI office. And as you said, the office hijinks of just getting from one place to another, but also the one-on-one confrontation in a way with her abuser in a different sense. Yeah. And the fury that's in the title, and also the powerlessness and hopelessness of these collisions with entrenched male power, twinning them the way they did while finding room for the Danny and Alden runner. It's the kind of thing where if people know this, that like in the scripted TV process, you write, you have the outline of the episode that gets noted and then you get sent off to script. Like if you just showed me or anyone the outline of this episode, I think the response would be delight because they've just cracked it, a way to do it. And then the script
because of the things that happen or because of the way that they happen.
I mean, I think that what I'm trying to articulate is that one of the genius things about this show is not that it is breaking the mold, is that it is finding new corners and new pathways within the mold to make it all feel fresh and make me reconsider my relationship to why I'm into molded shapes to begin with.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm saying, so I think it's more the latter. It's like, this was going to happen. This is the appropriate place rhythmically in an 8-episode season to do it. But I didn't expect to do it like this. And then the beauty of it, when you confound some expectations but flatter others, you create a scenario where, and I want to know what you think about this, but like as soon as we saw Marshall in the car drinking, tracking Alice, fairly confident
Obviously.
where it was going to go and how it was going to end.
He's going to get, something is going to happen to him because of Catherine.
Because the gun that we see there, yes. Did I feel cheated when that happened? Because I was like, oh, I saw it coming? No. I felt like it walked us to the inevitable place for where this episode needed to go. I can't say it enough. I've been saying it weekly. Like, I just find the watching of this show thrilling, both in terms of the plot, but also in terms of the thought that goes into every scene of it.
Here's a different way of putting what I said in the beginning that kind of more gracefully like echoes what you've just said, which is that if you imagine the script as like a mixing board, like the way they would mix a piece of music, the way that they will turn up certain aspects of it to throw you off. Like, so for instance, one of the things that I was thinking as I'm watching this episode last night is, oh, they're really pushing the comedy pretty hard. Like they're almost over leveraged on like how funny the Danny and Alden thing is, and Nora's journey through the FBI building and being like, how's your mom? It's my dad. Oh yeah, I thought he was going to make it. You know, like,
or Troy dropping down to his knees also thinking that's what we were doing.
And all that stuff is so like comic that when Nora finally gets to Ed's office and she starts doing the usual like, aha, I've got you exactly where I want you. But then they actually cut the line and let her do this theatrical monologue, essentially, with some incredible flourishes of language. Like, you know, they speak with feathers and all this stuff. It hits so much harder because of the daffiness of the journey to get there, because it's such a great left turn.
Right.
You know, if she had been like, I'm going to fucking get to Ed and tell him what's what, watch me do this. And it's like the whole time you're anticipating it. I think you're like, oh yeah, you've been building up to this and that. But of course, like, that's not how real life works, or it's not how the reality of the show works.
Yeah.
And by that same token, I think, you know, they are playing with these kind of cliched characters, maybe not even cliched, but like the idea,
familiar tropes,
familiar characters, like the abusive boyfriend, like the driven cop, like the serial killer out beyond any recognition. And it's like, then they pull them back in different ways. And, you know, that scene with Marshall and Alice is like harrowing, but they know what they're doing when they have him like listening to Sublime and singing along, because they are trying to basically be like, look at this little goofy guy sitting in the car. And then he becomes the biggest monster arguably of the show again, you know, like, and him screaming at her, look what you've done to me. Like, you made me do this, which is obviously a classic abuser, you know, concept of like, it's you who is making me do this to you. But, you know, for him to be confronted with true vengeance in that moment is,
because she hesitates.
And I think it's confrontational with the audience, because it's like,
do you want him to get shot?
Yeah.
And she hesitates, so he gets shot.
Yeah.
I think it's worth considering that, like, the familiar tropes, when done correctly in a build like this, that's the skeleton, but the sinew is anything but conventional. The sinew is just in the emotion of the characters, and the trauma and the traumatic history and the lived lives of the characters is anything but expected. Nora is, to your point, dramatic, theatrical, a force of nature, and also an alcoholic. Catherine may have killed Alden's mother, and Alden in that moment says, I don't care, because she did give me the one thing that I've always wanted. And so because of that, that ends the conversation for me.
Right.
The Catherine scene, when after she's doped Alice, is, I mean, Lola Pettigrew is amazing in it, but the line when she says, "This isn't even my body. These aren't even my fucking hands."
Yeah.
Is so disturbing. And so, I mean, just, again, the idea that she is physically dissociated from herself and her physical being is horrifying to imagine, built into the history of the character, and challenging for the audience to sort of expect and understand.
Between perpetrator and victim, because that
who's responsible?
Those coping techniques that the woman in the shelter is obviously repeating to her, where she's just like, "You're present, you're in your body," you know, all that stuff is, you assume, taught to her to cope with the trauma that she's endured at the hands of these men. But she's using it to cope with the trauma that she's inflicting on other people too.
Yes.
And yeah, that whole scene in the shower with the green light, I thought was very knowingly an homage to Silence of the Lambs, the basement scene with Buffalo Bill, and extraordinary.
We should shout out Destiny Akaraga as the director. She directed the last 2 episodes. Again, the sign of a well-run ship to me is who knows what went on behind the scenes and what each director brought or didn't bring or what they had to fix in post or not fix or whatever. But when you feel an aesthetic consistency, that you check the names because you're like, another banger. It's a credit to both the director and the system and the production. Similarly, this episode was written by Colleen McGuinness, whose name you may remember from 30 Rock, from SNL, from Rami. Like another historically a comedy writer. So yeah, it's funny, but also this is like we've been saying every week, like Liz Merriweather did New Girl and did this. And it is incredible to see when you have a bunch of multi-talented, but talented in diverse ways, people rowing in the same direction here. Like it's, I don't know. I'm floored by it. We didn't even say, we talked about the Norris scene. We didn't even talk about Quincy Tyler Bernstein in that scene.
I mean, she's really, really, really extraordinary.
It's one of the performances
of the year.
with
Kato Flynn, for me at least, a discovery of the year in terms of what this person is bringing to the table. And then also, like, you've got scenes like where Michael Kostroff, who people remember as Maury from The Wire, shows up, and it is an exposition scene. He's letting Danny know like where things stand, what he wants, and you get a little bit of like feds versus cops jurisdictional banter, but fully delivers what is usually like a very like, I want results.
I'm glad you brought that up because he comes in throwing gas, and it's so knowing, because your point is important. The audience, like of a baseline TV audience, sees that guy and we're like, okay, we're in an East Coast urban show somewhere in the Law and Order realm. I don't mean Law and Order literally, but it's like, is it The Wire? Is it Cops? Whatever. I would imagine when you talk to actors who do, who do a day here or do a day there, that the balancing act is really tricky because you show up and you really want to make the most of your small meal. These pretzels are making me thirsty, famously. But you also don't want to steal the spotlight from the plot, from what you're trying to serve. He came in throwing gas, and Scoot McNairy was ready for it, and the production itself was ready with like to catch. It's like it was built for that, so we notice it. It's hard to describe other than the fact that it's such a welcome thing because there are no scenes off on the show.
Yeah,
that when I've been trying to tell people, not just on the podcast, but in life, why to check it out. It's primarily, you may think you know what it is from the log line or from the poster or whatever, but give it 2 episodes and realize that every scene surprises you in one way or another. And that alone is a gift. But the fact that now it's rolling, 2 episodes left, and I don't feel that episodic either, it's not bloat. It could be one of, I've started, 8 is the new 10, as we're saying here in Hollywood in terms of episodes. It's not always the right number. Even 10 isn't always the right number. Sometimes it's clearly, by the time you get to this, the end game, you're rounding third, there's too many episodes left, or there's clearly not enough time.
Right.
Talk to me in 2 weeks, but it just feels like it's they've managed it well.
If you had to guess, did Nora really get hoodwinked by Ed there, or do you think she was using like a fake laptop or something? Like, is there something?
No, I think she got because the laptop was wiped because Alden just put it all on a thumb drive.
Right.
The thing that I didn't fully understand, and maybe we're not meant to, is at the very end, Danny has the thumb drive, and he goes outside of the building to find out what's on it. And I think maybe other audience members as well assumed he would be scrolling to Catherine,
right?
Or
and he gets to Alice, right?
Or to the name of her friend who she's trying to avenge. But he gets to Alice,
right?
Is the implication that Alice is a part of this?
I don't know.
Or is it a different Alice? And he was just looking because he loves Alice?
I don't know. I mean, Alice was meeting people online, but I don't know I don't know how that works.
It wasn't, so you didn't walk away from that scene being like, aha. You didn't, I got to that point and I was worried that, I did a like that too. Okay, good. And then were you doing picture-in-picture lioness bathtub scenes? Yeah. Are there more than one?
No, not yet. It's the first time they've bathed together.
Okay, well.
Which is cool.
It's a long deployment. Cool. Saves water.
That's just good stuff from us today. I think...
we'll let them be the judge.
Thursday, I'm not sure what we're going to talk about.
You don't know?
No, not yet. But I'll let you know. And like I said, you'll probably miss next Monday's Furious.
Well, it depends how much. You mean? Do you want me to We could pre-record some stuff.
Okay.
We're not sure yet.
All right.
It really depends how much time Van needs.
This is good stuff for our listeners to hear how we put this all together.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
What if instead of After Dark we just did Procedural Corner, where we talked about our plans?
Because then you would just be like, interesting idea. I'll text you when I've decided.
You don't think that's compelling?
Thanks to Kaya, Kai, and Sarah, and we'll be back on Thursday. And I promise you this: I'm not going to bring up a single X-Man on that episode.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see. I think you're addicted.
That's my pledge.
All right. We'll see.